When do I start?
Hello, Anjali.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to
Yes.
the Global Virtual Summit 2026, Anjali.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, before going to your session, I would like to introduce you to our audience.
Okay.
Yeah. Anjali Daswani is an international coaching federation, professional certified coach, empowerment coach, and transformation leadership practitioner with more than 2 decades of multidisciplinary experience, spanning corporate leadership, international social work, and professional coaching. Her work is dedicated to enabling high achieving professionals to transition from states of compromise. That was a great and fantastic bio, Anjali, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you. I'll just rushing through life, craving for name and fame. Rushing through life, fighting for power and wealth. Tossing and toiling, day and night. Working hard to be what we dream to be. But there's no peace of mind. But there's no love for mankind. And there's no truth in our hearts. In this world, this creation divine. In this world, this creation divine. This creation divine. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, and thank you for being here today. Those words in the poem represent the frantic rhythm of a life in compromise, where we trade our presence in the moment for pacing. Looking around the room right now, how present do we feel to this exact moment? Drop it in the chat box if you will. When you heard those words just now, where did it strike a chord in your own life, if at all? Today, I invite you to explore a completely different rhythm for your life, your mind, and your leadership. And that rhythm is vitality. In our world today, productivity isn't just a work metric anymore. It has become our lifestyle. We have set our standards so high that unless we feel completely burnt out by the end of the day, we secretly feel like we haven't done enough. We wear being slammed like a badge of honor. But this is a compromise trap. It looks like dedication, but it can quietly dim our inner spark. It's that exact feeling of, for example, sitting in a Zoom call, typing notes, checking off tasks, while your mind is somewhere else. We are physically doing the work, but our actual presence isn't there. So, psychologists actually refer this continuous state of urgency as hurry sickness. We fall for the lie that going faster makes us better, but it forces us to pay a heavy hidden tax. First, it's the cognitive cost. Rushing increases our cognitive load, which decreases our focus and makes us less effective right when we need it the most. Second is the physical cost. It locks our nervous system into a chronic fight or flight mode, disrupting our sleep and driving us into emotional exhaustion. Third is the professional cost. It strips away our daily focus, leaving behind a life debt of chaos, open loops, and messy tasks for our future selves to have to clear up. I know this because I've lived it. For over 20 years in the corporate and leadership space, I've been that person rushing between back to back calendar invites, hitting every target and more in every space of my life, whether it's in the personal or professional space. To just realize that I felt completely disconnected from the actual meaning of the work. So, if you've ever felt that subtle gap between crossing things off your to do list and actually feeling alive, you're definitely not alone. So, if you don't mind, let's do a quick check in. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is a slight compromise and 10 is taking a major toll on your life, where would you say you feel you stand right now? If you don't mind, please feel free to drop it in the chat box. All right, the purpose of this check in was simply to bring about awareness of where we stand, which is always the very first step for growth. Simply acknowledging where we stand allows us to set the right direction to move forward. Anyway, if you did come up with a number, do keep it in your mind and look back to when was the last time you felt stretched thin. Was it at home? Was it at work? How did you feel? And how would you have preferred to feel? So, by the end of our time together, you will have a clear idea of how to spot these energy leaks and start reclaiming your vitality. To do that, we are going to walk through 3 simple shifts you can start making today. These are small micro choices designed to help you stop the noise, protect your energy, and reduce that heavy mental load. Because when we run on empty, that depletion ripples outwards to our teams, to our families, our organizations, and even more. So now the question is, why do we rush? It may be driven by multiple things, such as our commitment to excellent work, responsibilities overall, our belief systems, our emotions, and expectations. But our brains are wired to protect us. So when you face a heavy workload or a tight deadline, for example, your protective mind tells a story. If I do not finish this right now, everything will fall apart. And the moment we believe the story, a tiny part of the brain called the amygdala steps in to help us dial up, focus with energy, and push through. But when that safety guard stays turned on for too long, it pauses our prefrontal cortex, which is our natural center for creativity, big picture strategy, and deep empathy. When we are running on that frantic momentum, every email that we answer will create a small sense of satisfaction, a short lived, tiny spark of satisfaction, a little dopamine release, which is why some of us may continue to scroll the phone without knowing when to stop. But this could gradually drain our deeper energy reservoirs over time. Peak performers don't operate from a frantic pressure. They tap into what science calls the alpha state, a harmonious state of mind where you are simultaneously calm, alert, and fully present. The moment you simply pause, notice that frantic story, and bring yourself back to the present, your brain naturally shifts back into balance and then it flows in vitality. To bring this concept into perspective, imagine a small white dot right in the center of a vast black space. That little white dot is you. It represents your current self, your known strengths, and the world you have already built. That black space all around you is the unknown. It's the targets you haven't hit yet, the future you haven't reached yet. But if we are living in the compromise trap, we may be obsessing over the black space because when we look at how massive it is, we may feel small and think, I'm not doing enough. So, anxiety, we start quickly to force that to expand. But the secret to vitality is this: you don't find it by chasing that black space. It begins when you pause, look in, deeply appreciate and acknowledge the uniqueness and strengths in white dots that you are already standing on. When you choose to anchor yourself firmly in your own dot, peak performance follows naturally, moving outward from a deep place of stability and calm presence, rather than frantic, exhausting chasing ourselves. Vitality isn't a destination far away. It is a state of mind and a state of being. It is exactly what flows through us here and now when we simply slow down, breathe, and own our own brilliance. This isn't just theory for me, it's a lesson that I learned the hard way. For a long time, I carried a quiet feeling that who I was simply wasn't enough. And to compensate, I threw myself into relentless perfectionism. I tried to do everything, be everywhere, and hit every metric. On paper and with feedback, it looked like success, yes, but internally, there was a lingering emptiness. And where it hurt the most was at home. I vividly remember sitting in the living room with my kids. Physically, I was right there, but emotionally, I was absent at some level. My mind was still racing through calendar invites and future targets. I was giving the people who mattered most a distracted, exhausted version of myself. In that frantic rush, reaching bigger targets and complying with my work and responsibilities, I lost my vitality without realizing it. That emptiness finally opened my eyes. I realized vitality isn't about having the energy to run faster. It's about having the courage to stop chasing, arrive in the here and now, and appreciate the moment that I'm standing on first. When I made that shift from chasing to arriving, the quality of my work, my life, leadership, my relationships, everything started to change. So, what does this mean for us right now? The first step is to simply notice where compromise or rushing is showing up in your body today, whether it's tight shoulders, a racing thought, or heavy exhaustion. If you're comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes or even lower your gaze towards your desk for just 1 minute. If you don't mind, we take a collective breath together. So take a deep breath in and slowly let it go. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. One more breath in and let it all go. With your eyes still closed, ask yourself, what is the one compromise I am making in my life right now? Either with work, at home, or with my relationships. Don't overthink it. Just feel it honestly. Now, ask yourself another one question. What changes if I bring vitality to that situation? What if I met that with full presence and hold on to that feeling? As you feel ready, slowly open your eyes and bring your focus back into the room. This isn't just idealistic theory. We see this at the highest levels of global business. When Satya Nadella took over Microsoft as a CEO in 2014, he inherited a brutal, high pressure, know it all culture. Employees were trapped in a system of constant internal rivalry and severe burnout. People were trading their actual presence for survival and pacing. Nadella stepped in with an anchor of calm presence. He dismantled that toxic ranking system, changed performance reviews to reward collaboration, and intentionally shifted the company to a learn it all culture. By replacing frantic pressure with a calm space to listen and innovate, Microsoft completely transformed. That grounded approach allowed them to build Azure into a cloud giant and lead the global race in artificial intelligence. Sustainable success doesn't come from pushing harder and faster. It comes from settling down and accessing your presence. To master this shift, think of a tree. Contentment is the root system, a calm foundation that accepts exactly where it is planted. And vitality is the vibrant life that grows from those roots. So we cannot force the branches to grow without them anchoring in the roots first. And our daily habits are powerful anchors, which is true. But sometimes the deepest resistance comes from old patterns, which could take some time to be worked on. But these micro choices are your practical, immediate foundation. Here are three simple micro choices you can start using today to build that anchor. The first shift is clarity. Look honestly at your week and ask yourself, where am I compromising my well being to be busy? We cannot change a pattern until we name it. The second shift is connection. Intentionally pause before you react. Before viewing or answering that next urgent notification, take one deep breath and connect back to your own authentic choice. 3. Contentment. This is the mental choice to anchor yourself in your white dot, pause at the end of the day to appreciate what you did accomplish, rather than obsessing over what is left undone. So, here is my micro action challenge to you for the rest of today. Before you click on your next Zoom meeting or open your next email or any other project or task that you have, take 1 single minute to pause, look away from the screen, and pick just one option. The first one is a quick journal reflection. Write down one thing you are genuinely proud of doing today and anchor yourself in your white dot. Option 2 is a connection text. Send a 10-second message to a friend or a colleague saying, "Thinking of you, hope you're having a great day," and break out of your isolation rush. Option 3 is a silent reset. Take a deep breath, slow breathe on your desk, in and out a couple of times. Notice your thoughts, drop your shoulders, and bring your full presence back into your body. It only takes 60 seconds to step out of the compromised space to then experience your vitality. So, as we close our time together, let's remember this: vitality isn't a destination far, far away, it's a state of mind, a state of being. It is exactly what flows through us here and now when we simply slow down, breathe, and own our own brilliance. So today, choose just one area of your life where you want to stop compromising. Bring full presence and truth to that space. When you anchor yourself in vitality, you create a profound ripple effect that impacts your teams, your organizations, your families, and more. Because the truth is, every single one of us in this room is a leader. Even if right now you are simply leading your own life. I invite you to remember those words of the poem that we started with. And I want to leave you with the final thought that answers that poem. Yes, there is peace. Yes, there is love. Yes, there is truth. And it begins with you. And with that, I would love to open up the floor. We have a few minutes left, about 5 minutes left, and it's open up for any questions, reflections, or thoughts that you may have. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hello Anjali. That was a great
Hello?
presentation.
Yes, yes.
We
Hi.
really, we really enjoyed your presentation and we gained a lot of knowledge from your presentation.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you. Yes.
we have a few questions. I would
All
like
right.
to ask few of them.
Yes.
Yeah. What is
Please
a
go ahead.
what is a practical way to switch off from work mode before spending time with my family?
Okay. All right. Um, of course, it is if you're working in the same place, if you're working from home, it becomes a bit more of a challenge, but there are ways to do that. But arriving home requires a deliberate boundary ritual to signal your brain that the workday is officially over. And you could close your laptop, take a few deep breaths, and say out loud, "Work is done, and I'm arriving home now." And I know this seems very simple, and but this is a ritual that could be done on a regular basis for a while until it becomes a habit and we can literally visualize it in our minds to go off work mode, even if you have to visualize commuting. If that supports you, that is also a helpful tool. Arriving to your home in the mind frame that you would like to be present over there. And you know best what kind of a mind frame you would like to be in, present for your wife or your husband and for your children or anyone else at home.
Yeah.
And that will help you to prevent that distracted, exhausted version of yourself from impacting the people that who matter to you the most.
Yeah. I have you one more question.
Yes.
Yeah. Spotting the warning sign up of hurry sickness.
Hmm. Okay. Hurry sickness, of course, is something that it shows that you're in a constant state of urgency and stress, and where the peace of mind is traded for pacing. That's the idea of this whole talk today. And it is basically it's a stress mode, even if there isn't much going on, even though you don't have anything urgent to deliver. It's just an attitude, it's a stress mode that is running regardless of what is going on around us. And therefore, we have to watch for those physical cues, like maybe a tight shoulder, racing thoughts, and maybe even, maybe a heavy head, or not able to actually absorb what's going on around you. You may be nodding your head, you may be saying yes, you may be saying hello, but you've missed the conversation. And these are actually just signs, signals to show you that you're probably in that stress mode all the time. And that is what hurry sickness is about.
What if we lose our drive as we slow down?
Um, well, so losing your drive when you slow down, it is not necessary. Slowing down does not mean that you're losing your drive or giving up or in any way at all. So actually, it slowing down. The purpose of slowing down is to help us just to anchor into our roots, so that in fact we can go stronger. As I gave the example of the tree, you know that the stronger the roots are for that tree, the more firm is the foundation for it, and depending on the strength of the roots, that will determine the strength with which the branches are going to grow out and how wide and strong they can grow as well. So it's about actually just, in fact, strengthening yourself, acknowledging your uniqueness, and allowing those boundaries to be around you so that you are not pressurized by that black space. Now, black space pressure can come in many different ways. It could be, first of all, not feeling enough when you look outside of yourself, whether it's to your environment, whether it's to your families, to your workspace, anything outside of you, even if you're scrolling on your phones and looking at all the messages. Like I mentioned, the dopamine, it just takes you outside. And when you see people doing certain things and you feel like you would like to do the same, and when you see a lot of it, sometimes you may feel like, I would like to do this, but I can't. And the more you see it, the more you feel you see what you cannot do versus what you can do. And that is that black space outside. So, because there's so much of that around, and in this day and age, we all know the amount of information we are bombarded with constantly from all channels, whether it's news, whether it's phones, anything, any possible gadget. The world is so interconnected, which is, there are many pros to it. Yes, definitely. It helps us to speed up. We can get work done in split seconds. We can move really fast. But the pro is we can move really fast. The con is if we look at that black space and almost want to reach it, and that's when sometimes the boundaries of our white dot become very blurred. And if we don't have those boundaries already preset, or we're not mindful of them, we will allow all of this to come in, and that will impact our white dot. And what does it mean when it impacts our white dot? It means that we cannot act in our full brilliance, because we are, every single human being is unique and they have their own strengths. So we cannot acknowledge that first. How are we going to express it and share it with everybody else around us? So this is the reason, um, we talk about, it's called slowing down, but not, it's not really slowing down. It,
Yeah, we have one more question from our audience. I would like to ask one of them.
yeah.
Yeah. What can organization do to prevent high performing employees from reaching burnout?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very clearly.
What can organizations do to prevent high performing employees from burning reach out?
Oh, if I heard you correctly, you said what can organizations do to prevent employees from having, or the colleagues from burning out? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so where the organizations is concerned, there can be a two-way traffic. First of all, it's about evaluating the status of this burnout, and a good way is always communication, to speak to your colleagues and understand where they're coming from, what they're experiencing. Just like in the example of the Microsoft story that I told you about, they switched from a culture of high expectations and pressure and delivery to a learn it from a learn it all culture to basically from a know it all culture to a learn it all culture, where they hear out their colleagues and understand their strengths and co-work. So there's a space of co-working where each person is heard out so they can express themselves and then make it work as best as possible for the organization or for the colleagues. So your question was a bit vague. There can be many dimensions to it, so I'm answering it in a general way at this point.
Thank you, Anjali. That was a great answers, and thank you for answering my all questions. Yeah.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Please stay on the backstage and join the next session, Anjali.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.